Wow, 100 books on personal growth.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot to digest.
it is. It's quite a feast.
But, luckily for our listeners, they don't have to actually read all 100
Exactly.
because you've been digging deep into that Book Talkers podcast episode,
I have.
the one where they tackled this mountain of personal growth wisdom, and we're gonna try to be their guides.
Yeah, they're Sherpas.
They're Sherpas
Yeah.
through this vast landscape,
Absolutely.
trying to extract those key nuggets, the actionable stuff that people can actually use.
Right. The stuff that makes a difference.
Yeah, without having to scale the entire mountain themselves.
The Cliff's Notes version.
Exactly, the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
And what I really appreciated was how Book Talkers broke it down by theme.
Yes.
It gives us such a great roadmap.
It does.
Starting with habits, moving into mindset, then productivity.
It's very logical.
Yeah, communication, confidence, all the way to money, leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and even, a bit of life philosophy.
A bit of spirituality, even.
Yeah, so it feels less overwhelming when you see those interconnected pieces.
Definitely 100 books sounds daunting, but broken down this way, it becomes much more digestible.
Right, it's like we're giving them the essential intel, the distilled version.
Right.
So where do we even start with building something, anything substantial?
Well, I think you start with the foundations, the
Yeah.
bricks.
The bricks, and in life, what are those bricks?
Habits, those daily routines.
Habits, exactly. And it's no surprise that's where Book Talkers started.
Makes sense.
They really hammered home how crucial those daily routines are.
Yeah, if you want any kind of lasting personal growth, it all comes back to habits.
Right. And what's so fascinating is how many of these books emphasize
Mm.
that it's not about these huge overnight transformations.
Yeah.
It's about the small things done consistently.
It's the tiny 1% improvements that compound over time.
Right. Like James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits.
Yes. Atomic Habits, a great book for understanding this principle.
Yeah, those little almost invisible changes in the short term.
Right.
But then months, years down the line.
And they add up. They snowball into something significant.
And it's interesting how the research shows that habits that require less effort
Oh, yeah.
are more likely to stick.
The less you have to think about it, the better.
Right. It's like you're lowering that barrier to entry.
Exactly.
And then you have Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit,
Yes, a classic.
which really pulls back the curtain on how habits actually work.
The cue routine reward loop.
Right. That loop. It's like understanding the operating system of your behavior.
Absolutely. And once you understand it, you can actually reprogram it.
Right. Not just break bad habits, but also design good ones.
Exactly.
And making those initial steps as tiny as possible.
Oh, that's so important.
Like BJ Fogg talks about in Tiny Habits.
Tiny habits. Yeah.
Setting the bar so low that it's almost ridiculous.
Like 2 push-ups instead of a full workout.
Exactly. So you completely sidestep that resistance.
And you build momentum. It's like a snowball effect.
And it's so counterintuitive.
It is, but it works.
Yeah, because we often think we need this huge burst of motivation.
Right.
But really, it's about making it so easy that you can't not do it.
Exactly. And it ties in nicely with strategies like mini habits,
Mini habits, yeah.
where the commitment is so small, it's almost silly.
Yeah. Or habit stacking.
Oh, I love habit stacking.
Linking a new habit to one you already do without thinking.
It's brilliant. It's like piggybacking on your existing routines.
And it all boils down to this idea
Hmm.
that you want to make those good choices the path of least resistance.
Absolutely. Make it easy on yourself.
Yeah. And speaking of those small choices adding up over time,
Yeah.
Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect
Yeah.
really drives that point home.
Another great one, the compound effect.
Yeah, it's like those consistent small choices. They're like the slow burn.
Right.
That creates the biggest impact.
It's like investing, small, consistent contributions over time lead to huge returns.
Exactly. And if you think about it,
Yeah.
these habit books, they're really showing us
Uh-huh.
that our present reality,
Mm-hmm.
it's largely a reflection of our past habits.
Right.
And our future is going to be shaped by the habits we're building now.
That's a powerful thought.
It's empowering because it means we have agency.
Yeah. We're not just victims of circumstance.
And on a more practical note,
Yeah.
Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. Club,
Yes. The 5 a.m. club.
it really explores the power of those early morning hours.
Right. When the world is quiet,
No distractions.
you can really focus on yourself.
Yeah, set the tone for the day.
It's like a secret weapon for success.
It is, and it really crystallizes that idea
Hmm.
that you don't rise to the level of your goals.
Right.
You fall to the level of your systems.
Meaning your habits, your routines.
Exactly. It's not just about having those aspirations.
Right.
It's about building the underlying structure,
The foundation.
the foundation that makes achieving them almost inevitable.
Exactly. Success is not an accident, it's a system.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, the habits, the systems in place.
Yes.
But what's the engine that drives those systems?
I'd say the engine is your mindset.
Mindset. Okay, so now we're moving into this incredibly influential realm
Yes.
of our beliefs, our attitudes.
Our thoughts, our perceptions.
Right, and it's fascinating how consistently these books emphasize
Yeah.
that mindset is the crucial factor
Absolutely.
in determining success.
The book talkers even mention the 80-20 rule.
Oh, really?
80% mindset, 20% mechanics
Wow, so the mechanics, the actual doing,
is only a small part of the equation.
right, the majority is how you approach it.
Your attitude, your beliefs about yourself and your abilities.
And that brings us to Carol Dweck's mindset.
A foundational book in this area.
Yeah. She introduces this really important distinction
Mm.
between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset.
Right, fixed mindset believes abilities are static.
Like you're either born with it or you're not.
Exactly, while a growth mindset
Yeah.
embraces challenges and believes abilities can be developed.
Through effort and hard work.
Exactly, it's a belief that you can always learn and grow.
And what's interesting is that people with a fixed mindset,
Yeah.
they often avoid challenges
Even if they're capable.
because they're afraid of looking bad.
Afraid of failure, afraid of proving their limitations.
Right. They'd rather play it safe.
And stay within their comfort zone.
So that shift in perspective
Yeah.
from viewing setbacks as failures
Right.
to seeing them as opportunities for learning.
That's huge. That's a game changer.
It is. And it's a core theme in Brianna Weist's The Mountain Is You.
The Mountain is, yeah, a great book for understanding self-sabotage.
It helps us identify those patterns.
Those often subconscious patterns.
Right, the ones that keep tripping us up.
The internal roadblocks we create for ourselves.
And then you have David Goggins.
Oh, yes, David Goggins.
Ian Hurt Me.
An incredible story of resilience.
Yeah, his approach is definitely extreme.
It is, but there's a powerful message there.
Right, about mental toughness, pushing beyond limits.
Tapping into reserves we didn't know we had.
It makes you question, how often do we sell ourselves short?
Absolutely. We underestimate our own potential.
And on a different note, but equally important,
Yeah.
Jay Shetty's Think Like a Monk.
Think like a monk, yes.
It offers this practical pathway to inner peace.
By developing a strong sense of purpose.
Right, purpose as an anchor for a positive mindset.
It gives you something to strive for, something to ground you.
And I really appreciated how book talkers highlighted those authors who take a more direct approach.
Like Mark Manson.
Mark Manson.
Yeah.
And Gary John Bishop.
Right? Sometimes you just need that no-nonsense straight talk.
Cut through the fluff and get to the point.
Yeah, no sugarcoating, just pure honesty.
Take responsibility for your life.
Exactly. And speaking of that internal dialogue, you know that voice in our heads?
Yeah.
Books like The Untethered Soul,
By Michael Singer.
right? And The Courage to be Disliked.
By Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitaka Koga.
Encourage us to examine those narratives.
Those limiting beliefs that hold us back, right? Because our thoughts, they really do shape our reality.
They absolutely do.
So the takeaway here is that while external strategies are valuable,
Yeah.
the most profound breakthroughs,
That and internally.
right, by shifting our mindset.
It's an inside job.
Exactly. These books, they offer a toolkit
A powerful toolkit.
to win that inner game.
Absolutely.
Now, once you've got those foundational elements,
Hmm.
habits and mindset working in your favor,
Yes.
the next step is translating that into results,
Into action.
which brings us to productivity and focus.
All right, getting things done.
And it's so interesting how these books debunk the myth
Yeah.
that being busy equals being effective.
So many people fall into that trap.
Right, they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
But they're not actually accomplishing anything meaningful.
And book talkers really highlighted that true productivity, it comes from focused effort.
Directed at the right things.
Exactly. And that's where Cal Newport comes in.
Ah, Cal Newport.
Deep work.
A must read for anyone who wants to master their focus.
He talks about the superpower of concentration.
In our increasingly distracted world.
Right. It's like this rare and valuable skill.
It is.
And he gives strategies for minimizing those cognitive switching costs.
You know, those little mental shifts that drain our energy.
Right. Every time we switch tasks.
We lose momentum and focus.
And it all boils down to
Yeah.
carving out those uninterrupted blocks of time.
For deep work, for those tasks that really matter.
And that aligns perfectly with Greg McKeown's Essentialism.
Essentialism, yes. A great book for simplifying your life.
It's about doing less but doing it better.
Ruthlessly eliminating the non-essential.
Right, identifying the vital few and ignoring the trivial many.
It's about saying no more often.
So you can say yes to the things that truly matter.
Exactly.
And Gary Keller takes this even further in The One Thing.
The One Thing. Yes, a very powerful book.
He encourages you to find that one task.
That domino that will knock down all the others.
Right, that if you complete it,
everything else becomes easier or unnecessary.
Such a powerful question to ask yourself.
It is. It helps you cut through the clutter and focus on what really moves the needle.
And for those moments when procrastination creeps in.
Oh, yes. We all have those moments.
Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog.
Classic.
It gives you those no-nonsense strategies.
For tackling those big, scary tasks.
Right. Eat that frog first thing in the morning.
Get out of the way.
And build momentum for the rest of the day.
It's amazing how much better you feel when you conquer that big task early on.
And on a more tactical level, we have techniques like the Pomodoro technique.
Pomodoro, yes.
Breaking work into intervals with short breaks.
It helps you stay focused and avoid burnout.
Right. And books like Make Time
by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky
give you those frameworks for managing your time and attention.
They're like instruction manuals for your day.
It's all about being intentional with your most valuable resource.
Which is?
Your focus, your attention.
Absolutely.
Especially in today's world. With all the distractions.
The constant notifications, the endless feed of information.
The book talkers really highlighted Cal Newport's work here.
Yes.
Digital minimalism and hyperfocus.
Both great resources for reclaiming your attention span.
And intentionally curating your digital life.
So it supports your goals rather than sabotages them.
And it's interesting how this connects back to habits and mindset. You can have the best systems in place. The most positive outlook.
But without focus,
it won't translate into real-world results.
You need that ability to concentrate.
To direct your energy effectively.
Exactly. Focus is the key that unlocks everything else.
And in a world that's becoming increasingly noisy and distracting, that ability to do deep work,
to shut out the noise and really concentrate,
it's becoming a rare and valuable skill.
A significant competitive advantage.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've mastered our focus. We're being productive. Our interactions with the world naturally increase.
Right.
Which brings us to communication and influence.
Right. How we interact with others.
And it's fascinating how these books emphasize that communication isn't just about exchanging information.
It's about building relationships.
Right. Navigating complex situations, achieving goals in collaboration with others.
It's the foundation of everything.
And we have to start with Dale Carnegie.
Of course. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
A timeless classic for a reason.
It's as relevant today as it was decades ago.
Yeah, those principles of genuine interest.
Active listening.
Making people feel valued.
Those are timeless principles.
They apply in any context.
Whether it's personal relationships, professional relationships, even just casual interactions.
It all comes down to understanding and valuing people.
Exactly. Seeing things from their perspective.
And then you have Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference.
Never split the difference, yes.
Which reframes negotiation.
As a form of emotional intelligence?
Right. Understanding the other party's perspective.
Empathy as a key negotiation tool.
It's so counterintuitive.
It is, but it works.
And if we consider those more social aspects of communication. Making a good first impression.
Building rapport.
We have books like How to Talk to Anyone.
By Leo Lowndes.
Right, and The Charisma Myth.
By Olivia Fox-Cabane.
They give you those practical tips.
For boosting social confidence.
Yeah, feeling more comfortable in social situations.
Exactly.
And for those inevitable tough conversations.
Oh, yes, we all have to have them.
Book talkers highlighted two really valuable resources. Crucial conversations.
By Carrie Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler.
Right, and difficult conversations.
By Douglas Stone, Bruce Patton, and Sheila Heen.
They give you frameworks for navigating those high-stakes discussions.
With grace, with clarity.
And a focus on positive outcomes.
Exactly. It's not about avoiding conflict.
Right.
It's about handling it effectively.
And what's also crucial is nonverbal communication.
Body language.
Yeah, Joe Navarro's What Everybody Is Saying.
A fascinating book.
It delves into that often unconscious language.
The subtle cues we give off.
And understanding those cues
can significantly enhance your communication.
It's like having a secret decoder ring.
Absolutely.
So the overarching message here is that effective communication.
It's not just about the words we choose.
Right. It's about delivery, active listening, empathy.
Connecting with others on a deeper level.
And as book talkers pointed out.
Yes.
Mastering communication unlocks opportunities.
In every area of your life.
Now, all this external success, effective interaction, it really stems from a strong internal foundation.
Absolutely. You can't build a strong house on a weak foundation.
Which brings us to confidence and self-esteem.
The inner game.
And it's interesting how these books underscore that external achievement.
They often reflect our internal state.
Right. Our self-belief, our worthiness.
You can't achieve true external success without first cultivating internal strength.
And book talkers really emphasize that.
It's an inside job.
Internal growth is a prerequisite for external progress. And we have to talk about Brené Brown.
Oh, yes, Brené Brown.
Her work is so pivotal here.
The gifts of imperfection, daring greatly.
She challenges us to embrace vulnerability.
Not as a weakness, but as a strength.
Right, as a pathway to connection and growth.
It's about showing up authentically, flaws and all.
And allowing yourself to be seen.
Which can be terrifying, but also incredibly liberating.
It's counterintuitive to how many of us operate.
We're often taught to hide our flaws, to pretend we have it all together.
Right, but Brené Brown says that's where the real magic happens.
In those messy, imperfect moments.
And then you have Susan Jeffers feel the fear and do it. Anyway.
A classic.
Such a powerful message.
Take action despite the fear.
Right. Fear is not a stop sign.
It's more like a signpost.
Pointing you towards what matters.
Exactly. Fear is a natural part of growth.
And Jia Jiang's rejection proof.
Rejection proof, yes.
He takes this a step further.
He intentionally seeks out rejection.
To desensitize himself to it.
To prove that it's not the end of the world.
It's like building up an immunity.
To the fear of the no.
And on a more creative note, we have Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic.
Big Magic, yes.
Encouraging us to tap into our creativity.
By fostering self-trust.
And embracing the messy process.
It's not always pretty, but it's where the magic happens.
The true confidence. It's not about bravado or arrogance.
It's not about being loud or flashy.
It's about that quiet inner knowing.
A deep-seated self-assurance.
A belief in your capabilities.
An inherent sense of worthiness.
That emanates from within.
It's about being grounded, not seeking external validation.
Such a crucial distinction.
It is.
And as that inner confidence strengthens, it naturally impacts other areas of our lives.
Like our finances.
Which brings us to money and a wealth-oriented mindset.
Ah, money.
And it's interesting how these books highlight that financial success, it's not just about mechanics.
It's not just about budgeting and investing.
It's about mindset.
Your beliefs and attitudes towards money.
And we have to start with Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Robert Kiyosaki's classic.
It challenges those traditional notions of wealth.
Right. The 9-to-5 job, the slow climb up the corporate ladder.
And then Jay DeMarco's The Millionaire Fastlane.
Another one that encourages entrepreneurial thinking.
Building assets that generate passive income.
Right. Creating wealth rather than just trading your time for money.
It's about shifting your perspective.
From employee to owner.
From consumer to creator.
Exactly.
And then we have The Psychology of Money.
By Morgan Housel.
Which delves into those irrational and emotional behaviors.
You all have them.
Right. How psychology often trumps logic.
When it comes to our financial decisions.
And understanding those biases.
As emotional triggers.
It's the first step to making smarter choices.
Absolutely.
And Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez's Your Money or Your Life.
Your money or your life, yes.
It takes that values-driven approach.
Reevaluating your relationship with spending.
Considering the true cost of your purchases.
Not just in dollars, but in time and energy.
Right? Is this thing I'm buying really worth the hours I had to work to afford it?
It's a powerful question.
It is. And it helps you align your spending with your values.
So you're not just mindlessly consuming.
And of course, we can't forget Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
A classic.
Emphasizing the role of belief, visualization, and action.
In achieving financial abundance.
And so true wealth, it starts in the mind.
Absolutely. Your thoughts, your beliefs, they shape your reality.
And these books, they offer a framework.
That's shifting your financial mindset.
Which can lead to a positive financial reset.
Absolutely.
Now, as we grow personally and financially, we often find ourselves in positions of leadership.
Right. Guiding and influencing others.
And these books emphasize that effective leadership, it starts with self-leadership.
Knowing yourself, leading yourself.
And Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
A foundational text in this area.
It offers those timeless principles.
Integrity, proactivity, seeking win-win solutions.
It's about embodying those principles in your own life.
And then leading by example.
And Simon Sinek.
Ah, Simon Sinek.
Start with why and leaders eat last.
He really highlights the importance of purpose.
Of understanding your why.
And inspiring others by connecting with their why.
It's not about authority or demanding compliance.
It's about serving and empowering others.
Creating an environment where they can thrive.
Exactly.
And Angela Duckworth's grit.
Grit, yes.
It shows how perseverance and dedication,
they can be more important than talent.
That message of sticking with things,
even when it gets tough.
Even when you face setbacks.
That's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful.
And then we have extreme ownership.
By Jocko Willink and Leif Babin.
And Ray Dalio's principles.
Both emphasizing the importance of taking responsibility.
For your outcomes, both good and bad.
And having those guiding principles.
To inform your decisions.
It's about clarity of thought and action.
So effective leadership. It draws on a strong mindset.
Clear communication.
Genuine confidence, grounded in self-awareness.
It's a combination of internal and external factors.
And as book talkers highlighted, true leadership.
It's built on clarity, courage, and consistency.
Clarity of vision, courage to act, and consistency in your values.
Absolutely.
Now our interactions with others. They go beyond formal leadership roles.
They encompass all our relationships.
Which brings us to emotional intelligence.
And the art of building strong connections.
And it's fascinating how these books recognize that relationships are a cornerstone of a fulfilling life.
They're essential for our happiness, our well-being.
And emotional intelligence.
Understanding and managing emotions.
Both our own and others.
It's the key to navigating those relationships effectively.
And we have to start with Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages.
The 5 Love Languages, yes.
Such a simple yet profound framework.
For understanding how people give and receive love.
Right. What makes you feel loved?
Might be completely different for someone else.
And recognizing those differences
can dramatically improve your relationships.
It's about speaking the other person's love language.
Exactly.
And then we have Nonviolent Communication.
By Marshall Rosenberg.
Which gives us tools for empathy and conflict resolution.
Communicating your needs and feelings respectfully.
Right. It's about honesty, but also compassion.
Seeking understanding rather than winning an argument.
And Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence.
A groundbreaking book.
It lays out the importance of self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills.
Empathy and motivation.
Not just for leadership, but for overall well-being.
It's about understanding and managing your emotional landscape.
And being attuned to the emotions of others.
Absolutely.
And for those interested in romantic relationships, Amir Levine and Rachel S.F. Heller's Attached. It explores the science of adult attachment styles.
How those patterns can influence our relationships.
That's fascinating stuff.
It is.
So strong, healthy relationships.
They contribute to a happier, more fulfilling life.
It's about investing in those connections.
Because they're the ones that really matter in the end.
Absolutely. And as we strive for growth and connection, it's important to nurture our inner world.
To find peace and perspective.
Which brings us to life, philosophy, and mindfulness.
The inner journey.
And it's interesting how these books suggest that sometimes slowing down,
being present,
can actually help us achieve more.
It's counterintuitive.
It is.
But it works.
And Eckhart Tolle's books,
The Power of Now, A New Earth.
They offer guidance on shifting our awareness to the present moment.
Detaching from those thoughts that keep us trapped in the past or future.
Right. Finding peace and contentment right here, right now.
Instead of constantly chasing something.
And then we have the Stoics.
The Stoics.
Ryan Holiday's The Daily Stoic.
And Marcus Aurelius's Meditations.
Ancient wisdom for modern challenges.
Dealing with setbacks, uncertainties with resilience and clarity.
It's about controlling what you can.
And accepting what you can't.
And books like Stillness is the key.
By Ryan Holiday.
And Awareness.
By Anthony DeMello.
They emphasize the importance of inner peace.
Self-awareness.
Understanding our own minds.
It's the foundation for a meaningful life.
So personal growth, it's not always about adding more.
More achievements, more possessions.
Sometimes it's about subtracting.
Letting go of what no longer serves us.
Finding contentment in the present moment.
It's about simplifying your life.
Focusing on what truly matters.
Exactly.
And finally, we have the power of biographies.
Learning from the lives of others.
Real life stories of people who have overcome challenges.
Achieved great things.
Made a lasting impact.
They're incredibly inspiring.
Book talkers. Highlighted individuals like David Goggins.
Can't hurt me.
Phil Knight.
Shoe Dog.
Steve Jobs. Elon Musk.
Individuals who pushed boundaries,
Took risks.
dedicated themselves to their visions.
And then we have those more personal stories.
Yeah.
Like Michelle Obama's becoming.
Tara Westover's educated.
Stories of triumph over adversity.
Of breaking free from limiting beliefs.
They remind us of the human spirit's resilience.
And our capacity for transformation.
And even something like Matthew McConaughey's Greenlights.
Greenlights.
It offers a unique perspective on navigating life.
Embracing the ups and downs.
Finding meaning in the journey.
Absolutely.
So these biographies, they remind us that greatness,
it's not about luck.
It's earned through effort.
Resilience.
A commitment to growth.
It's about showing up every day and doing the work.
So there you have it.
Wow.
A whirlwind tour.
100 books in what felt like minutes.
The key takeaways from 100 impactful personal growth books.
Thanks to book talkers and your amazing notes.
We covered a lot of ground.
Right, from habits to mindset.
Productivity to leadership.
Confidence to relationships.
Inner peace to the power of stories.
It's a lot to process.
It is. But remember, you don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
Pick one or two things that resonate with you.
Maybe a theme? Book, a specific idea?
And start there.
Maybe our discussion on habits.
Yeah. Spark an idea for a small change you can make.
Or maybe a book on mindset piqued your interest.
This is just a starting point.
An invitation to explore further.
To find what works for you on your own journey.
And that brings us to our final thought for you today.
Like and subscribe.